Have a great day, everyone. This is Desiree Magsayo Barbon, 19 years old, a second year student and taking the course of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English.
I am Johansson Ivan Abidan. I am 18 years of age, taking Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics.
Good day, everyone. My name is Mark Edsel Bibarami, 19 years old, and I am taking the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Mathematics. And now we will discuss the stages of development and developmental tasks.
Introduction. For every developmental stage, there is an expected developmental task. What happens when the expected developmental tasks are not achieved at the corresponding developmental stage? How can you help children achieve this developmental task?
According to Robert Hellman, obviously they get behind in their development, but does not mean that they cannot catch up or just take a little longer to develop. Development is more of a guideline than a law.
We'll now begin to introduce the stages of development and developmental tasks. So the first stage is prenatal development. Prenatal development is the time after conception when a baby forms from a single cell.
There are three main stages: the germinal stage, the embryonic period, and the fetal period. The germinal stage begins when the egg becomes fertilized with sperm. This single cell's journey down the fallopian tubes to the uterus and begins to divide.
After conception, your baby begins a period of dramatic change known as the embryonic stage. This stage runs from the 5th through the 10th week of pregnancy. During this stage, the baby is called an embryo.
A fetus is a prenatal human being between the embryonic stage and birth. The fetal stage extends from the beginning of the 9th week after fertilization to about 38 weeks after fertilization, which is the average time of birth. The fetal stage lasts a total of approximately 30 weeks.
Infancy, birth to 2 months old. Extreme independent on adults. Beginning psychological activities like language, symbol thoughts, sensory-motor coordination, and social learning. Language of newborn is to cry, usually eat 2 to 3 hours. Uncoordinate movements, toothless, poor vision, focusing range 8 to 12 inches. Usually double weight by 9 months. Respond to human like voice and touch.
Infancy for 1 year old. Change from plump baby to learner, more muscular toddler. Begins to walk and talk. Ability for passive language or better understanding of what's being said. Tentative sense of independence in the last one. Determined explorer.
Infancy for 2 years old begin to communicate verbally like names, sounds, and others. Can usually speak in 2 to 3 words and sentences. Famous for negative behavior and say no to everything, as well as making temper tantrums. Will play side by sider to other children, but does not actively play with them. They are also considered as great imitators.
Early childhood, from 3 to 5 years old. It includes want to be just a parent. Vocabulary and pronunciation continue to expand. Climb stairs with alternating feet and can briefly stand on one feet.
Early childhood for 4 years old. Sentences are more complex, speaks well enough for strangers to understand. Imagination is vivid. Line between what is real and imaginary is often indistinct. Develop fears, common fears, fears of dark, fear of animals, and fear of death.
Early childhood for 5 years old.
can hop on one foot and skip, can accurately copy figures, may begin to read, and also socialize with other children at their age.
So, in the summary, in early childhood, from 3 to 5 years old of age, they learned some physical independence, and in this stage is the beginning to develop their social skills and make a lot of friends. And now, we will proceed to the next stage.
Middle and late childhood from 6 to 12 years old. Both large and small muscle will develop complex motor skill, from independent activities to same-sex group activities. Acceptance by peers and parental approval are still important.
Summary of middle and late childhood, 6 to 12 years old, continue to grow in their mental abilities, physical abilities, that use of language and friendships.
Adolescents from 13 to 18 years old. They experience traumatic life stage from child and parents. Poverty occurs. Extremely concerned with appearance. Trying to establish self-identity and confrontation with authority. Early adulthood from 19 to 29 years old. Physical development complete. Emotional maturation continues to develop. Usually learn to accept responsibilities for action and accept criticism. Usually knows how to profit from errors. Usually progress from age-related peer groups to people with similar interests.
Adulthood from 30 to 60 years old. Physical change begins to hair, begins to thin and gray, hearing, vision disease, and muscle loss tone. Main concerns: children, health, job security, aging parents, and fear of aging. Love and acceptance still take a major role.
Late adulthood from 61 years old above. Fast growing age bracket of society. Physical deterioration like brittle bones and poor coordinations. Memory problems. Coping with their retirement and forms of entertainment. Very concerned with their health and finance. Significant members become depressed or suicide rate is high.
In the summary for the last stage, late adulthood, this is the last stage of life from the 60s onward. It constitutes the last stage of physical change.